Joining us now, job creator Ed Valenti, and he is credited with the formation of the infomercial, or long-form 2-minute advertising format. And Ed has been the kind of the father of the infomercial. His company Dial Media was founded by him and his partner Barry Becker in Warwick, Rhode Island, of all places. Warwick, Rhode Island in 1975. And he's credited with being the guy that really changed the way products are bought and everything else. And look, it eventually led to the formation of the home shopping channels QVC and HSN. And Ed Valenti is with us now. Ed, welcome to the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Hey, John, how are you?
Ed, I got to tell you, what did you just get up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to do an infomercial? Like, how'd you come up with the idea?
Well, I was working for an NBC television affiliate, and everything was commercialized on the air at that time was records, like Ronco and K-Tel, if you remember. It was every record that's ever been recorded since the beginning of time for only $20. So I said, what if we could sell something other than record albums, like products, and use 800 numbers and credit cards? We could probably create brand recognition, make a lot of money, create awareness, make a lot of money. Did I say a lot of money?
Yes, a lot of money.
And at that particular time, we launched our first product, and we sold $1 million at $10. So we had $10 million in annual income, and when you do that kind of money, you're in business. And that later developed into other products, but probably most famous is the Ginsu knife that I created, the Ginsu knife legend, and those literary classics that I wrote at the time. But wait, there's more, and now how much would you pay? And operators are standing by. And we did about $500 million in sales and sold the company to Warren Buffett. So what an amazing American success story that I've chronicled in my new book, cheap plug, The Wisdom of Ginsu, now available on Amazon Audio. But the real truth of all of this, John, and by the way, I'm sorry I can't be with you in studio today. I would have loved to give you a hug. But
I don't want you to be smelling my hair, though, because
no, I won't. I won't do that. But I might.
I put hairspray on it.
Grab you around the shoulders and around the neck. But anyway, and also for full disclosure, I'm a capitalist, terminally ill with that, and a serial entrepreneur. But this all started because I grew up impoverished. I grew up with a single mom who lived off a government pension because my father was killed in the war, and she barely had enough money to feed us and clothe us. And, you know, while other people would have been depressed and withdrawn, it was just the opposite for me, John. It gave me tremendous resolve. It emboldened me to want to go out and be successful. And because of America, because I live in such a great country, I was able to do that and take chances. You know, and in my book, I talk about successful people. One of my chapters is not making a mistake is a big mistake, because if you're not making mistakes, then you're not trying. So America gave me the opportunity to go out and try things without major consequences, and to go out and live the American dream and be anybody that I wanted to be, no matter where my background laid. It was. I like to say that America gave me all of the ingredients, John. I just needed to bake the cake. And what it's been able to allow me to do is to share that success with many of the people who work for me now. As an example, the recent tax cuts have allowed me to create more jobs than ever before, to, for the first time, develop a profit-sharing plan so my employees can share that success and wealth with their families. And it's also allowed me to give them raises so they can enrich their lives and their families. So My story is pretty basic in the sense that I started from nothing, worked my way up, and I tell you that's something that only could be done in America. And that's one of the reasons why we have a border problem. I mean, think about all the caravans that are trying to get into this country. I mean, do you think that Venezuela and Russia have border problems? Are people breaking the doors down to get in there? They want to come here because there's opportunity here. There are jobs here. There are dreams that can be realized in this country. Mm-hmm. And despite the fact that some people, want to take it away and want to change it, it's very disturbing to me. But anyway, that's my story, John, and I'm sticking to it.
Ed, I want to highlight your book that you mentioned, because just explaining it, I haven't had a chance to read it. I want to buy it today so I can read it over the weekend. Get it? It's called, what is it called?
It's called The Wisdom of Ginsu. And thank you, John. I need the money.
Well, I don't think you do, but I think your message needs to get out.
The Wisdom of Ginsu is a story about two guys who grew up with nothing, right, and lived the American dream. And the second part of the book is something we call Ginsu-isms. They're the things that we did right and the things that we did wrong. And we impart that wisdom to the reader so that they can lift themselves up out of whatever situation they're in. I mean, for an example, one very simple example in the book we talk about is always ask. Now, that may seem simple in the way I said it, but you would be surprised how many people don't ask. And when you don't ask, it's an automatic no. But knowing when to ask and how to ask is something that we tell you and show you how to do in the book. For an example, I frequently fly first class. I frequently get hotel rooms for free and lots of other things because I ask. And in the book, there are many examples like that explain how you can live a better life, get a better job, and hopefully make money. John, if I can do this in this country, anyone can do this. But the difference is you have to want it. And one of the expressions that I have in my book is, there's no way you can sit on your ass and slide uphill. and you've got to want this. It's here for you. Everything is here for you. But if you're the kind of a person that is going to sit around and wait for something to happen, guess what? It's not going to happen.
That's right. Nothing will happen. It's your, hard work and persistence. I think it was a Calvin Coolidge or somebody, I forget, that one of the best lines ever. He said, "The world is dotted with men of talent and high education that didn't do anything." And it's really persistence. He said it's persistence at the end of the day that separates those that are successful that those that aren't, and hard work and dedication. So
right.
I appreciate that. But, the other thing you mentioned, I want to get to, the tax cuts and how that's affected your business and the Trump economy. But I've got to ask you this question. Ed Valenti with us, and buy his book, man. You got to buy his book, Ed Valenti. Just go to Amazon or your favorite bookstore. But Ed, I just got to ask you this. Like, did you get up one day and say, I'm going to invent a new knife? Like, how did the Ginsu knife, which everybody knows what the Ginsu knife is, right, how did that come to being? Like, how did that formulate?
Well, first of all, I would tell you that as far as having an idea of wanting to be in business, I never thought in terms of if I would be successful. I tried to think in terms of when I would be successful. The Ginsu knife was a product that was sold at end cap displays in supermarkets as a single knife. And the company came to us at the time and they said, we've got this incredibly sharp knife. And I said, yeah, it's a really sharp knife. But the last thing in the world I think people want would be another set of knives because they already have it.
Right.
So I proceeded at that point to elevate the knife that had extraordinary talent and razor-sharp capabilities, but I elevated that knife to something that was, everyone has knives, but you don't have a Ginsu. And then we started cutting tires and cutting tin cans and chopping wood to illustrate that your knife, although you might like it and it's good, this one was far better than that. And then we kept adding things to it, not just one knife, but two. And then we would stop and say, how much would you pay for a set of knives like this? But wait, don't answer, because we'll also give you this, and we'll also give you this, and we'll also give you this. But wait, here's more, here's more, here's more. So at the end of the offer, I think people probably didn't understand how many knives they were getting, but they knew there were a ton, and it was only $20.
What a great story!
And one of our employees, who was recently passed, because the Ginsu doesn't mean anything in any language. It's a totally made-up name. And the Ginsu knife is not made in Japan, but we created that illusion. And, of course, it was popularized by John Belushi and all Saturday Night Live and Johnny Carson, who made fun of that with Samurai Deli. Right. But the Ginsu knife, the name means absolutely nothing. It's a totally made-up name. My deceased partner used to say that Ginsu meant we never have to work again for the rest of our lives. But anyway, one day one of our creative directors came in and he said, by the way, I just got off the phone with the Japanese embassy. It's, oh my God, you won't believe what the name Ginsu means. It's derogatory about someone's mother. Now, of course, we were on, I don't know, maybe 700-800 stations at the time saying the name Ginsu. And after about a half hour, he came back and he said, oh, by the way, I was just kidding. Now, this gentleman is no longer with us because he was stabbed repeatedly by the Ginsu knives. So he's long since gone.
Ed Valenti. Ed, when we're done, I've got about 5 more minutes, but when we're done, I want you to do me a favor. I'm in Richmond today, but I want you to stay on the line and give Kiera, my producer there in Portsmouth today, your email and cell so we can stay in touch, because I got to have you on as a regular and because I can get your opinion, I can get your Ginsu perspective on politics all day long, and I know you're going to make the analogies, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So,
well, we're a couple of sharp guys, John. No pun intended. But don't get me started on the other stuff, because it'll take another hour.
Well, that's why I got to get your name and number and get you back.
Only in America. And that's one of the phrases in my book, by the way. Only in America.
So let's get so you're an entrepreneur. You're the Ginsu guy. You figured this whole thing out. What do you think of the Trump economic policy? Like, how is that working for your company?
It's fabulous. Again, if I was with President Trump, I would embrace him and hug him as well. But what a guy to understand the difference between capitalism and socialism. I mean, this guy absolutely gets it. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, if you take away the incentive from people in America, who's going to invent the next medical breakthrough? I mean, who's going to create all the new technologies? And then I jokingly said, I'll tell you what, if you don't believe that taking away incentive is not an interesting point to think about, try this. The next time you go into a fancy restaurant and the waiter comes over and says, hey, hi, I'm John, I'm your waiter. Say to him, hey, John, I just want to tell you up front, you're not getting a tip. And then find out what kind of service you get for the rest of the evening.
I bet it's not going to be very good. Yes.
Yeah, someone's going to go in the back room and take care of your meal for you.
Something like that, right? Something like that. So Ed, if you were if you're in Washington, let's say you come up and you visit me in Washington. I said, look, I'm going to take you to AOC's office and have a little sit down with her, and you had a chance to talk to AOC. What would you tell her?
Well, the first thing I would do is when I left, I'd have to blowtorch my skin. Because I would have been in the swamp. I would tell her that she needs to grow up and she needs to engage the brain before she opens her mouth. And, this whole socialism situation is not going to work. It's been proven not to work. People are eating out of garbage cans and garbage trucks in Venezuela, killing zoo animals for food, runaway inflation, runaway poverty. Is that what you really want for this country? Mm-hmm. You know, it's amazing to me. I joined the Job Creators Network because I honestly and truly believe that a lot of the kids who are coming out of the re-education camps, I'm sorry, I meant colleges, are indoctrinated like the Khmer Rouge did. And you know how that situation turned out.
It didn't turn out very good, Ed.
They just don't have a clue. And people like her and Bernie Sanders are just dishing out this narrative, this phony Kool-Aid, because free everything is sexy, John. But who the hell is going to pay for it? Listen, 70% tax is a job killer.
Right.
And I'm a job creator, and it's amazing to me that some of these young kids coming out of school who want jobs want to kill the job creators. You know what, guys? You missed a few math classes. Go back and learn over again. Put a pencil and paper to this. It doesn't work. And the only thing that's very sexy is free, 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 free. And that narrative is being pushed on the youth of America today because they are looking for power. They're looking to regain or retain control. And that's what it's all about. And for name recognition.
Right.
She's like a game show host to me.
She'd be a good game show host, though, wouldn't she?
No, she would. She'd be a good game show host. Look, I don't need some 29-year-old bartender telling me about morality. You know, go back and do math classes again and try to figure out that this is all wonderful, but it's going to cost more than the entire budget of the United States government, plus a few other countries as well. And historically, this whole concept is circled the drain many times and been flushed.
All right, Ed, we've only got a couple more minutes, but I want you to do this with me. I know you're quick on your feet. This is totally unscripted and prepared. I'm going to give you the presidential candidate. I'm going to give you the name. You just give me your immediate reaction. You ready?
Yeah.
Joe Biden.
Okay, thank you.
Beto O'Rourke. What do you think of Beto O'Rourke?
Yeah, okay.
Let's see. Let's get to Kamala Harris. You don't like any of them? All right, let me. I'm going to try to find one.
Let me tell you why. Let me stop you and tell you why, because you can go through the whole list and you get the same narrative from me. Silence. These 2020 candidates, the hypocrisy has no end. Do you understand, or does your audience understand, that many of these people who are running in 2020, who are talking about free, 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 socialism, 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 many of those people are in the 1% of income. Bernie Sanders has a book deal for $800K, owns 3 homes. Hello?
Well, he's never had a job either.
Well, why does he have an $800K book deal and then talks about billionaires ruining the country? People who have over $1 million are terrible people.
Well,
I'm not apologizing for being a socialist, for being a capitalist and not a socialist. I'm not apologizing for what I made. It wasn't given to me. I earned it. I went to work when it was dark, and I went home when it was dark.
Joe, I'm out of time. I really want to thank you for being with us. It's very entertaining. I had a great time. Thanks for being with us. And you're the man. Got to buy his book. What's the name of it again?
The Wisdom of Ginsu. It's available on audio. Go to Amazon Audible.
The Wisdom of Ginsu.
And buy 2. My kids need braces.
The Wisdom of Ginsu. All right, Mr. Valenti, stay on the line. We're going to get your I'm going to be sure I have all your right contact info so I don't have to go through a third party to get you on. I really appreciate it. We're going to have you back. Very entertaining and very informative and right to the heart of the matter. Thank you. More information, go to taxcutswork.com. This is the end of the John Fredericks Show today. Fighting Joe Morrissey coming up right after me, 10:05, WJFN 100.5 FM, WJFNradio.com. Don't forget to download my free app. It's free. Bernie likes it. Even Joe likes it. My free app. Just go to the App Store, John Fredericks Show. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.